I'm going to show you how to make these savory filled puffs. Pâte choux, also known as choux pastry, is a versatile pastry dough with French origins. The term choux means cabbage in French, and the pastry earned its name due to its resemblance to small cabbages when baked. One distinctive characteristic of pâte choux is its high moisture content, which creates steam during baking, causing the pastry to puff up and form a hollow center. Pâte choux is the foundation for various classic French pastries, including éclairs and cream puffs. Its light and airy texture makes it a popular choice for both sweet and savory applications in the culinary world. Alright, so the first step for puffs is to make the fillings. So the cheese just needs to grate. The tuna is already in the tin. It's just the chicken that needs to cook. So here I have 2 pounds of chicken breast. Now, am I going to fill the puffs with 2 pounds of chicken breast? No, but no point, if you're going to make chicken filling, you might as well make enough to, let it last. So what I'm going to do here is take off the skin. You could boil this whole. It'll just take a lot longer and it would not cook as even. And I'm cooking it with the bone, just for some added flavor. You don't have to, but I prefer to do that. And it's a lot easier to take off the bone after it's cooked. The butcher already split the spine for me, so I'm just gonna go through the breastbone here with our knives. Of course, you'll always ask about these knives. You could shop them on our Amazon storefront. So I'm just chopping straight through this. This knife is actually a hybrid between a chef knife and a cleaver. So this is going through chicken bones like butter. Alright, so I'm just gonna clean up this bowl and then we could take him to the stove. We have him over a high heat. Just gonna top it with water. It's enough to cover. I can't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning, but I washed the chicken breast beforehand. It's a lot easier to wash while it's still whole as opposed to cutting it up and then washing it. Right, just added in a little salt. Yeah, we want to cover it, bring it to a boil, then reduce it to a simmer and allow your breast to cook until tender. Alright, so while our chicken is cooling, you can just go ahead and grate out our cheese. So what I did just to help the grating process, I brought the cheese down to room temperature. This is New Zealand white cheddar. So you see how soft and pliable it is? Makes grating a lot easier. And I'm grating on the smaller grater. This will just give you a much smoother consistency with your cheese paste filling. And then to prevent slippage, what I do, I just grate right around the cheese just to give me some grip. And I also grated the onion that I'm going to be adding to the cheese paste. Just clean off this mustard. Right, so this is actually my mom's recipe that I'm showing you also. We're going in with, the mustard is already there. Some diced pimento, grated onion, some evaporated milk, just to bring the paste together and give it that extra bit of creaminess. A little white pepper, some pepper sauce. I mean, this one is optional, but just some pepper sauce just for some flavor. And last but not least, some mayonnaise. Not much, just enough to bring it together. Spread our mayonnaise. And again, because the cheese is at room temperature, it will help this part out a lot. Make life a lot easier. I mean, you could grate it on the bigger side of the grater and transfer everything to like a food processor. So you could see the pieces of pimento. Get to smell it. Smelling it and smelling the pepper sauce. Alright, so we're just gonna pop this in the fridge and move on to the next one. Next we're gonna do our tuna. Right, now it's time for the tuna. Now tuna have a tendency, or any type of canned fish for that matter, have a tendency to smell a little fresh. So at this point, a lot of people might use lemon juice, lime juice to cut the freshness. But in our family, we grew up adding butter to cut the freshness. So that's what I'm gonna do. At this point, I'm gonna mix in the butter just to make sure I can break it up, evenly incorporate it, and also just add in my pepper sauce one time. I had the butter sitting out on the counter just to bring it to room temperature, just to make mixing a lot easier. And as a bonus, aside from cutting the freshness, it adds a little creaminess to your tuna paste as well. Already smelling that pepper. And what I did with the tuna, when I took them out of the cans, I drained off the excess water. This was tuna chunks in water. I find water is the best one to use when making paste, as the oil, I doubt you would want that oily residue in your tuna paste filling. Salt and some regular black pepper, diced onion, pimento for flavor. We give this a little mix before we add in the last ingredient, the mayonnaise. And I like the bite of the onion as opposed to like with the cheese paste how we grated it. I like the bite of the onion in the tuna. And the onion also does help to cut the freshness of your tuna. Just coming in with some mayo now, just to bring everything together. See, when you drain off all that excess water, it helps to keep your paste a little thicker, because you don't want a runny paste, or you don't want like water starting to settle at the bottom of your paste. Lovely. So we're gonna just set this in the fridge and move on to the chicken now. Right, so for our last filling, we have our chicken. So what I did, I removed all the bone, any remaining skin and cartilage, and then I threw all in the food processor. So we're going in with some onion powder, garlic powder and paprika, salt, black pepper. If you want to keep the color, you could switch to white. I mean, it's really optional. Pepper sauce, of course. All right, before I add anything else, let me give this a good mix, just to get all these dry seasonings. So now we're going in with some fresh, finely chopped celery. This will add color, give it a nice herbaceous smell, and add a little bite to it as well, a little crunch from the stalk. And lastly, just some mayonnaise, just to bring everything together. Just to spread the mayonnaise. Be mindful not to add too much mayo, you don't want it too runny. So you can just add a little bit, give it a mix like I'm doing here, and then you watch and make a judgment call from there. From here now, we're gonna set this in the fridge and move on to the puffs. So the first step for our puffs is to combine water, salt, and margarine. Bring your water up to a boil. And by that time, the butter should dissolve, should be fully dissolved, or at least soft enough for you to just take your spatula or a wooden spoon and stir it up and fully incorporate your water, margarine, and salt. All right, so you can see the water starting to boil here. So I'm just gonna pass the wooden spoon and you can see the butter is melted. So I'm gonna switch off and bring it off the heat to add our sifted flour. Again, I keep saying the same thing, but sifting helps give you a better, much more even product. So for this, you want to use a wooden spoon or a rubber spatula. Work in your flour good. Make sure it absorbs all of that water and butter mixture. Try and spread your flour as best as you can to prevent any lumps. Let me show you how you can tell. Well, a couple ways of telling when your mixture ready. You see how it's moving away from the pan? And here's the next way of telling. A spoon, a regular teaspoon or tablespoon. Once it's lined up straight like that, you reach the desired consistency. Using my wooden spoon, spread it a little bit and leave it here to cool. All right, so now that we have our flour mixture, it's time to incorporate our eggs. For that, I'm gonna save my shoulders and use the stand mixer. I mean, of course, if you have a handheld mixer, you could use that. And for that, I'm using the wire whip. This will help to beat the eggs in, giving it that light texture, incorporating a little air into it as well. So going in with the flour mixture. Right, to lock it. Beating it at about medium speed. Bring it back down. Adding in the eggs. Just stop to scrape down the sides. Before you add the eggs, you want to make sure what you added previously is well incorporated. See that V shape? That's what we're looking for. Also, I'm not sure how well the camera catching it. You'll find the dough has a glossy finish to it. You seen it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is another telltale sign that your dough is ready. Another thing you could do, let me get a spoon. Let me show you one more trick. Try to make a trough and see if it stays in place. See? So you see like how the sides aren't caving in or anything like that? That's another sign. Plus look, I get my V shape here from the length. So this is ready. This is ready to move into the piping bag now. So we're gonna, well no, I'll fill the piping bag on camera and then we'll shift the mixer and everything and bring our grease sheet. All right, so here we have a classic piping bag. This is an 18-inch piping bag. This bag is probably 12 years old. This is the bag I use in culinary school, so you'll excuse the little scuffs on it, but nothing is wrong with it. So this is a standard piping bag, and here I'm using this tip today. You could use a smooth edge one. It's really down to your preference. It's not gonna affect the end product at all. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fold down my piping bag and I'm using my left hand, if you could catch that. I'm just kind of holding the inside of the piping bag with my left hand, and I'll just use the spatula to force it down. Why you want to fold down your bag too is with these bags they get a lot of wastage, so you want to get the dough batter, whatever it is, icing as close to the spout as possible. So you can just kind of use your two hands to manipulate it. Yeah, and then you just gradually just go up. You could use a Ziploc bag if you don't have this. You don't necessarily need to run and buy a piping bag. What I'm doing now is I'm just using gravity. So I'm not sure, right? You could kind of see through it. You see any difference in the density? Yeah, so you could see from here down is full. You can see it's almost ready to come out. So I'm just gonna slide. Let me just close this up. Turn them over. I'm just gonna slide the mixer. So I'm just twisting it to tighten it, and you'll see the spout. Just twisting it to allow some to come off right. So now we're gonna go now. The size of your puff is totally up to you. The shape of your puff is totally up to you. But just for demonstration, I'll show you two simple ways that you could pipe your puff shells. And I am doing a bigger puff, but of course you could do a smaller one. Yeah, so here we go. So you could hold it down now, and you just squeeze. And you think you reach your size, just raise up. Now, one thing you always want to do is keep your tip on the puff. Raise, one more. Raise, one more. Raise. To reset, I'm just tightening. As soon as I see it's starting to come out, That's when I know I have no more air gaps in it. So let me show you the other way now. Now I'm just gonna swirl again. Oops. Again, my tip, let me do that one more time. My tip is not leaving the puff. Right. So you see two different shapes there. This one was just straight down and you let it come out and then you just raise up, and then this one here, you just swirl around. So again, as I said, it's really a preference thing. All right, so now what we're gonna do is pop them in the oven. It's already set at 375 degrees. Again, I did the different shapes and the different sizes just to show you all there is no particular size that you have to do it or shape. Oven is set at 375. I'm in the middle of the oven. I am not going to rotate this pan. Why? Because you do not want to open this oven before 25 minutes. Ideally, this will need to bake anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes. What I'll do at the 25-minute mark is I'll show you a trick to get the inside fully cooked. So we're gonna set the timer at 25 minutes. All right, time to check our puffs. Right, so a little trick just to make sure the inside dries out fully is you could just take a toothpick and just stab it down the center. I'll just use this time to rotate it. You really don't have to do this at this point because it really only have like about 5 minutes again. All right, so the 5 minutes is up. So now we're gonna take out our puffs. Check it out. See that classic golden color? Not sticking to the parchment. Lovely. So we're gonna let this cool and then we'll fill. All right, y'all, so I already started to cut the puffs, but I just left 4 to cut open for y'all so you can see. Hard shell on the outside, soft and moist on the inside. Cut another one. Nice hard exterior. Soft interior, nice and moist on the inside. Tuna, cheese, chicken. You could do a sweet filling, pastry cream when you're making éclairs. I mean, it's really up to you. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to fill. I just want to thank you guys for watching along with us. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. Send us your pics, videos, comments when you make it. Let us know how it was, if you like it, if you didn't like it, etc. Let us know what you do differently, how you make your puffs differently, what you fill in your puffs, how you eat it, etc. What shapes you do. Let us know. All right, thank you. Thanks, guys.